So, good day to each and every one of you who will be watching this recorded lesson. So, as we all know, you're already done with your chapter 1 and 2. There are some things to be edited out in your chapter 1 and your chapter 2, but most of your research naman is good when it terms is in good shape naman na. So, editables are always common. So, may mga babaguhin tayo and i-adjust doon sa ating mga chapter 1 and chapter 2 while we are doing your chapter 3. So, our chapter 3 is entitled Research Methodology. Okay? So, this is one of the things or basically, this is the climax of your research if you're putting it into a story. Your chapter 1 is basically the introduction of your story. Your chapter 2 are the backstory of the characters, and chapter 3 is going towards the problem and towards solving that problem in your story. Again, if we are comparing your research into a story, okay? So again, research methodology. So research methodology by definition is explains the overall process of the investigation, discusses particularly the methods and techniques employed in identifying the respondents in constructing the research instrument. Now, in the research methodology, again, it focuses on explaining who are your respondents, what things will you be doing, what solution or formulas will you be using, what sample, what kind of research design, and so on and so forth. Uh, Research methodology in its entirety tells us or tells the audience of what things should they be expecting, or what did they do, or what did the researchers do to get the data, the necessary data to conclude and to create your chapter 4 and chapter 5. This is very important because without your chapter 3, without your research methodology, you will not know where you are going on your research, or you will not know what formulas to be used, what solutions to be used, ang inyong ano yung mga magagamit nyo when it comes to your research exactly. Okay? So again, that's for research methodology by definition. To add, it elaborates on the validation and data analysis scheme, which includes the application of the statistical tools for treatment of the data collected by the study. Excuse me. Again, so sa research methodology, it will be focusing on how you get your data through sample size, through questionnaires. If it's qualitative, you are using interviews. Okay? So, that's the definition. So, basic look po natin sa ating research methodology, and this is how you would start constructing your chapter 3. So, of course, chapter 3 there, research methodology. That's the title of your chapter 3, and it starts with this paragraph. I believe you can pause this video naman po to see kung ano yung content niya. So, I will be giving you a few seconds to pause this. Okay, so again, this is the content or the start of your research methodology. Now, there are key parts, of course, of your research methodology or your chapter 3. So, these are the following: the research design, subject of the study, research instrument, data gathering procedure, statistical treatment of data. Okay? So, ito yung mga sunod-sunod na parts when it comes to your chapter 3. So, let's go to research design first. The research design is basically this. The researcher chooses the most appropriate research design for the present study. This had to be supported by a citation of the brief description of the design. Sir, ano po yung research design exactly? Pag sinabi natin research design, whether it's qualitative, quantitative, kung ano ba yung design, kung ano ba yung style ng inyong research. Okay? So we have talked about in the past few sessions natin, nauulit-ulit yan kung ano yung quali at quantitative research. Now, we have other types of research that might be applicable to your paper, but we'll talk about that during our consultation. Now, it includes the following information. Type of research according to date needed, type of research according to purpose, and explanation why the type of research is applicable to the topic. Okay? Again, sa research design, dun mo ina-explain kung ano yung mga bagay-bagay na kailangan sa inyong research paper. Like the following. Type of research according to data needed. Kung ang inyo bang data ay quali or quanti. Type of research according to purpose, kung para saan siya gagamitin. Explanation why the type of research is applicable to the topic. These are the things that you will be explaining in your research design. So this is the start of your research design. Probably by later today or by tomorrow, I will be uploading a specific file sa inyong Genya account wherein you can see a specific style or a specific look on a sample research design or chapter 3 in its entirety para meron kayong basis ng inyong paggawa. But definitely, hindi ibig sabihin na may binigay na basis is that is what you will be following exactly to the letter. No. Since it is a different research, you will be using a different way of explaining your own research methodology. Okay, so this is also the part of research design in its entirety. Of course, gaya ng na-mention, lagi tayong merong citation. Okay, I will be giving you a few seconds to pause and to take a screenshot of this. Okay, so let's move on to the next part of our research methodology, which is the subject of the study. Now, this section comprises the discussion on how and where the subject will be taken from. Again, pag sinabi nating subject, it's not necessarily English, Math, Filipino, but when we are talking about your subject, they are your respondents. It can either be the total population or a sample if population size is large. Ito yung pinag-uusapan natin from the very start na kapag ang isang source or ang isang population ay sobrang laki, you have to take a sample size. Pero kung siya naman ay hindi ganun kalakihan and you want your paper to be as accurate as possible, then it is possible for you to use the whole population. Okay? If the researcher intends to utilize a sample, the sampling design has to be included or indicated. Okay? So meron tayong solution dyan. Okay? Again, sa subject of the study, we're focusing on who your respondents will be, what grade level, what usually demographic profile sila. Diyan din nalabas yan. What age group, what section, yun, and so on and so forth. Now, it includes the following information. The respondents or subjects and their background, kagaya ng na-mention ko kanina lang. Total population, the total number of population. Manner of selecting respondents, subjects from total population, or sampling method. Breakdown of the selected population. This is optional when it comes to giving out your subject of the study, but if you want to break it down part by part, for example, your respondents are every grade 12 section, okay? So you have, I believe, 12 sections if I'm not mistaken. So if you will be including a breakdown, you will put how many students exactly did you get from a specific section. For example, you will give out your survey questionnaires in Mendeleev. So there is a specific part there that from grade 12 Mendeleev, you took, for example, 15 students, 7 girls and 8 boys. Again, that is what we mean by the breakdown. Again, this is optional because it's a bit too specific in a sense na it's not necessarily needed sometimes, but if you want to add that on your subject of the study, it's not gonna hurt your paper at all. Okay? So again, the population, By definition, the collection of the elements which has some or the other characteristic in common. Number of elements in the population is the size of the population. Pag sinabi nating population, ito yung total number of respondents, total number of people, students, kung saan man at kung saan man ikaw gagawa ng research. This is what you will be using. Again, the population is the total size of your respondents. Now, a sample, on the other hand, it is the subject of the population. Sorry, subset. I've misread that. Subset. Ibig sabihin, mas maliit siya. Or it is a part of the entirety. Parte siya ng kabuuan. The process of selecting a sample is known as sampling. Okay? Number of elements in the sample is the sample size. Okay? So, ang sample is yun yung tinatawag natin na maliit na part of the whole, but when there are numbers included, it is what we call the sample size. Now, there are a few things when it comes to sampling methods or sample size. Sampling methods are used basically to gather kung ilang sample size yung kailangan mo sa isang research. Okay? So again, ang kailangan mo dito ay yung total number of your population and actually, yun lang yun eh. You need your total number of population. Okay? So sa sampling method natin is the first one is probability sampling. It uses randomization to make sure that every element of the population gets an equal chance to be part of the selected sample. It's alternatively known as random sampling. So, pag sinabi nating probability sampling, it is just basically random sampling. Okay? There are things under random sampling, under probability sampling, okay? Before we proceed, ililinawin ko lang, baka hindi masyadong malinaw kanina. Pag sinabi nating probability sampling, again, you are randomizing. So, for example, in a section, let us say in Röntgen, okay? So, for example, you will be giving out survey questionnaires for Röntgen. So, while you are conducting there, you will not be picking who you will be giving your survey questionnaires to. Hindi porket may kakalala ka sa Röntgen, siya na yung pagsasagutin mo. No, it's not like that. Okay? Kung, again, pag sinabi nating probability sampling, you are randomizing. So, regardless of age, kasi sa isang section naman ay hindi pare-pareho ang age ng mga students natin, regardless of age, regardless of gender, as long as they belong to that classification na nandun sila sa section ng Röntgen, you will be giving out your your survey questionnaires there. So, kung halimbawa, ang kailangan mong respondents for a specific section is 20. So, ibig sabihin, mamimigay ka ng survey questionnaire mo randomly on that specific section. You won't be picking a specific name or something like that. Again, dito papasok yung tinatawag natin na iba't ibang sampling method. The first one is simple random sampling. Okay? By definition, basahin muna natin. Every element has an equal chance of getting selected to be the part of the sample. It is used when we don't have any kind of prior information about the target population. For example, random selection of 20 students from class of 50 students. Each student has equal chance of getting selected. Here, probability of selection is 1 out of 50. Okay? Again, pag sinabi nating simple random sampling, like yung mention ko kanina, regardless kung ilan kayo sa isang section, regardless kung anong age mo, regardless kung anong gender mo, height, weight, whatever it is, if the researchers needed a specific amount of survey sample size on a specific group, for example, ay isang section, regardless kung ano yung mga information na nabanggit ko kanina, you will be selected. And kagaya nga ng mention natin dito, example dito ay you need 20 students out of 50. Okay? Again, you need 20 students out of 50. So therefore, siya ay 1 in 50 chance na ikaw yung mapipili na magiging respondent for that specific research. Again, this is for simple random sampling. Okay? Another thing with regards to simple random sampling is the Sloven's formula. Sir, may formula po sa research? Yes. Sloven's formula is used to calculate the sample size, or in this case, our n, yung maliit na n, given the population size, the larger n, and a margin of error, which is our letter E. Sir, ano po yung margin of error? Ito yung ito yung pag tinignan natin sa isang paper or sa isang number, ito yung chance natin na magkamali. Kaya siya ang tawag yung margin of error. Yun yung chance natin na, or yun yung number specifically given na halimbawa ay may specific number count na target. For example, 50. Tapos ang margin of error mo ay nasa, halimbawa ay 1 to 2%, parang ganon. So, ibig sabihin, meron kang 1 to 2% na mag-off yung number na yon, yung 50 na yon. Halimbawa, let us give a specific example. For example, you will be shooting an arrow. Okay, again, you will be shooting an arrow that is supposed to be at a 70-degree angle. Okay, that is supposed to be in a 70-degree angle. Pag sinabi nating margin of error, ito yung computation wherein you will add or you will minus a specific number dun sa 70 degrees. Okay? For example, gawin nating plus minus 3. So, ibig sabihin, pwedeng mag-off yung pana mo or yung pagkakapana mo ng plus 3 or minus 3. So, again, ang target mo ay 70 degrees. Pag sinabi nating margin of error mo na plus minus 3, either ang magiging bababa yung degree ng pana mo ng minus 3, which is 67, or tataas yung arrow mo ng mas mataas, which is magiging 73. Again, yun yung tinatawag nating margin of error. It's a random sampling technique formula to estimate a sampling size. Okay? It is computed as n is equals to n over 1 plus n(e) squared. Okay? Whereas, n again is the number of samples you needed. Yung maliit na n. Okay, yung malaking n is the total number of population, and your e is the error or margin of error. Now, sir, paano po ito compute exactly? So, again, meron naman tayong example dito. Okay? Again, ang formula natin ay yung nasa taas. N is equals to n over 1 plus n(e) squared. So, ang population size natin or yung total population natin is 1,000. Okay? So, 1,000. Ito, pag may information ka ng ganito, i-input mo lang siya. I-input mo lang siya. So, example, ang population size natin is 1,000. So, yan yung magiging malaking letter N natin. So, ang margin of error mo, error of margin mo ay 0.05. Okay? 0.05. So, ibig sabihin, yan nga po, 100% minus 95 is equals to 5%. Pag nilipat mo si 5% sa, what do we call this? Decimal, that will be 0.05. Kasi dapat ang computation natin dito ay hindi ka, walang ibang, I forgot the term in math, I apologize. Walang iba, hindi siya dapat magkakaiba kung silang lahat ay whole number na na whole number, dapat whole number sila. Yun yung tinatawag natin may decimal. If may percentage, dapat percentage sila lahat. And in this case, we are using whole number, so therefore, specific or percentage are not included. So again, formula natin is n is equals to big N over 1 plus big N multiplied by e squared. So again, ang population size natin dyan is yung 1,000. So, pag in-input natin siya is n is equals to 1,000 plus, n is equals to 1,000, 1 over 1 plus 1,000, tas parenthesis, kasi nga, yun nga yung i-multiply natin siya, and may squared pa, 0.05 squared. So, yun yung uunahin natin by rule of PEMDAS. Okay? Parenthesis muna. Okay? So in that case, so you will multiply 0.05 by itself and you will come up with 0.0025. Okay? Yeah. So, since yun na yung computation natin, n is equals to 1,000 over 1 plus 1,000 multiplied by 0.0025. Okay? So, pag-add, multiply nyo siya. So, 1,000 times 0.0025 and you will get 1 plus 2.5, wherein that will be 3.5, and you will divide that number. You will divide 1,000 by 3.5. Then you will get n is equals to 285.714, or this will be rounded off kasi hindi mo naman po mahahati ang tao. So, that will be n is equals to 286. So, out of 1,000 students, when we use the Sloven's formula, you will get 286 sample size. Again, out of 1,000 total number of population, you will get 286 when it comes, or when you get when you use 5% as your margin of error. Okay? So again, if you have any kinds of questions, feel free to reach out, lalo na sa in-person classes natin, kasi this will be reiterated sa inyo during our class. Okay? Again, I know that you cannot ask questions directly right here, right now, because again, this is a recording, but definitely that is how you would this is how you will use simple random sampling using the Sloven's formula. Okay? So again, the computation is that, ito yung formula natin, n is equals to big N over 1 plus n e squared. Okay? Margin of error again natin is 5% or 0.05. And the total number natin ng population is 1,000 and your sample size needs to be at 286. Now, on the other hand, again, pag simple random sampling, na-mention ko na naman kung paano. On the other hand, pag sinabi nating stratified sampling, this technique divides the elements of the population into small subgroups, or what we call strata. Okay? Pag sinabi kong strata, that is a small subgroup. So, based on the similarity in such a way that the elements within group are homogeneous and heterogeneous among the other subgroups formed. Then, the elements are randomly selected from each of these strata so that you can identify which will be your respondents. We need to have prior information about the population to create subgroups. Okay? So, usually, pag sinabi nating stratified random sampling, dissect muna natin yung definition ha. You divide the total number of population into subgroups, aka strata. Now, since you will be dividing them into subgroups, we will assume that you know something already from them. So, paano may alam na kami? Like, you can classify them. Okay? You can classify them as a specific classification. So, either you will classify them into nominal or ordinal scales. Okay, balikan natin. Pag sinabi natin nominal scales, again, you can arrange them or you can classify them, but you cannot arrange them. On the other hand, pag sinabi natin na ordinal scale, you can arrange them and you can classify them. Again, pag nominal, you can classify them into categories, but you cannot arrange them like one over the other. On the other hand, pag sinabi naman natin na ordinal, you can classify them into groups, and at the same time, you can arrange them into a specific order. But in this case, again, you will be needing it in nominal scale. Kasi nga, you will be classifying them based on previous information na alam nyo. Okay? So, unlike sa simple random sampling, wherein you do not know anything about it, about your population size, your population, wala kang background knowledge about them, anything about them. And stratified, you know something about them. You know a little bit about them. Kaya mo sila makaklasify, kaya mo sila mapagsasama-sama into subgroups wherein halimbawa pagsasamahin mo yung mga may magkakaparehong uh, what do we call this? Magkakaparehong characteristics, aka heterogeneous, or sorry, nalilito ako. Excuse me po. Sorry. Pagka sinabi natin, nalito ako ng konti. Pag alam mo yung mga characteristics nila and you will be including the same characteristics into a same group, that is what we call homogeneous. On the other hand, pagka pinagsama-sama mo yung iba't ibang characteristics on a specific group, that will be heterogeneous. Again, pagka stratified sampling, you will be classifying them into strata. Okay? Yan yung pinaka-basic look nila. Kung titingnan natin kung paano mo sila gagamitin as your sample size. Okay? So, sa cluster sampling naman is the entire population is divided into cluster or sections. And then, clusters are randomly selected. All the elements of the cluster are used for sampling. Clusters are identified using details such as age, sex, location, and etc. Wait lang, double check ko lang. Okay. So, ulitin natin ha. As a quick recap. Pag simple random sampling, you are just getting the number of them, regardless kung anong information ang meron sila. Okay? Again, wala kang alam sa kanila. You don't know anything about them except that they are human beings that can answer your question. The other hand, pagka sinabi nating stratified sampling, you are dividing them into subgroups, whether it's heterogeneous, homogeneous, or different kinds of category that you can think of. Okay? Now, on the other hand, pag sinabi nating cluster sampling, ito, pinagsasama-sama mo sila, kagaya naman siya ng, it's almost the same as stratified. The only difference here is you get okay. Mas madali siyang explain kung ganito. When it comes to cluster sampling, mas madali siyang i-explain and I hope that you will get this. For example, you will be getting 50 respondents from Lipa, 50 respondents from Tanawan, 50 respondents from San Jose, Batangas. Okay, so again, 50 respondents in Lipa, 50 respondents in Tanawan, 50 respondents in San Jose. Let us say na yun muna yung classification natin. Just to give you a glimpse of what happens in a cluster sampling. So stratified random sampling, you will be classifying them into a specific category. Like, may specific silang characteristics. But when it comes to cluster sampling, you are generalizing them. So example, since ang pinag-usapan natin ay Lipa, Tanawan, and San Jose, you will choose among them kung alin yung kukunan nyo ng result. Either sa Lipa, or sa Tanawan, or sa San Jose. Yun yung sinasabi natin na cluster sampling. Sir, paano po siya nagkaiba sa stratified? Pareho lang din naman po silang may groups. The difference here is you care about a specific, in stratified, you care about the characteristics of them. Okay? Like, wait a moment. Okay. Pag sinabi natin na stratified random sampling, again, you are classifying them based on their characteristics. Same goes for cluster sampling. The difference here is, pag ginroup mo yung sa stratified random sampling, whether it's heterogeneous or homogeneous, you are still picking somebody from that specific group. Okay? Again, let us say there is a group A and group B. Pag sinabi natin na stratified, whether it's from group A or group B, you will get your respondents, for example, 30 from group A and 30 from group B. Okay? Now, on the other hand, pag sinabi natin cluster sampling, you are getting all the information from a specific cluster or group. So, kung halimbawa, again, yung mention ko kanina, Lipa, Tanawan, and San Jose, I believe, when you take those informations, you will take them as a whole. Instead na kagaya ng sa stratified na they are just simple. Not simple. specific. Okay, again, pagka stratified, there is a group, yes, but you will still get information from those groups individually. Pero pag cluster sampling, parang ang gagawin mo is ito-total mo yung buong information from a certain cluster. Okay, let us say from Lipa, you will get their information and you will total them and you will count them as one. That is it for cluster sampling. I hope that is clear. If it isn't, I am so sorry. I will be clarifying that better during our in-person classes or our online classes. But I do hope that you understood that. Okay? So again, yan, ika-cluster mo sila by that. Now, on the other hand, pag sinabi nating systematic sampling, the selection of elements is systematic and not random, except the first element. Elements of a sample are chosen at regular intervals of population. All the elements are put together in a sequence first, where each element has the equal chance of being selected. Okay? For example, in a population of 1,500, the sample is 150. Make a set of numbers like 1 to 15, then take every 15th name on the list until the total sample size is achieved. Okay? So, this is a bit systematic, as the name suggests. So, simple random sampling, like the name suggests, it is simple random sampling. You will take a number, and regardless kung saan man, i-divide mo pa yan per sections, or for example, then mamimigay ka randomly. Stratified, you will be dividing them into subgroups, and then you will select specific person or specific respondents from those subgroups. Cluster sampling, you will group them and you will treat their data as one. On the other hand, pag sinabi nating systematic sampling, you are using a specific process. Kagaya nga nang na-mention dito. Meron kang 1,500 na respondents. So, using that 1,500 as a sample, a total population, and you need to have 150 na respondents out of that 1,500. So, anong pwede mong gawin? There is a process that you can do. Pag systematic, again, kagaya ng nandito, you will create 1 to 15 numbers. So, ibig sabihin, every 15th number or every 15th name na lalabas dun sa listahan mo ng pangalan, pag pumatak yung pangalan sa number 15, 30, 45, 60, 75, 90, ganon, you will be selecting them as your respondents. That's it. Okay? Again, pag systematic, there's a specific number. Sir, fix po ba siya na dapat 1 to 15? No. Kung gusto mo, halimbawa, 1 to 10. Every 10th name, siya yung magiging respondent mo. This can vary. Again, this is still probability sampling, and this is still somehow random, though it's systematic. Okay? Again, pagka simple random sampling, you just randomly select your respondents. Pagka stratified, you are grouping them and you are selecting individuals from specific groups. Pag sinabi natin cluster sampling, you will group them and you will treat the data as such, as a group. In systematic, you will be having a specific pattern or a specific system on selecting your respondents. Okay? So that is that. Again, this is, on the other hand, our non-probability sampling. It does not rely on randomization. This is more reliant on the researcher's ability to select elements for a sample. This type of sampling is also known as non-random sampling. Again, lahat nung nabanggit natin kanina, basically, they are random sampling methods. So, non-probability sampling, the first one is availability or convenience sampling. Here, the samples are selected based on the availability. This method is used when the availability of sample is rare and also costly. So, based on the convenience, samples are selected. For example, researchers prefer this during the initial stages of survey research. as it's quick and easy to deliver results. So, pag sinabi natin na availability or convenience sampling, kung sino yung nandyan, yun na yung respondents nyo. Lalo na kung ang magiging respondents nyo ay kakaunti or you have a specific set of characteristics na dapat ma-meet ng respondents mo bago mo sila i-select as your respondents. Okay? Again, availability, kung sino yung available, yun na yun. Okay? Purposive sampling. This is based on the intention or the purpose of the study. Only those elements will be selected from the population which suits the best for the purpose of the study. For example, if you want to understand the thought process of the people who are interested in pursuing master's degree, then the selection criteria would be, are you interested for a master's in, or all the people who respond with a no will be excluded from the sample. Okay? Again, pag sinabi nating purposive sampling, you have a specific purpose. Okay? Kagaya nga nito, ang hinahanap mo dito ay yung mga respondents na gustong mag-take ng master's degree. So, ibig sabihin, yun yung magiging respondents mo. If they answered no, then definitely you will not be including them as your respondents for your study. Okay? Again, balikan natin yung una, availability, kung sino yung available dyan. On the other hand, purposive, kung sino yung pumasok sa inyong qualifications or kung sino yung pasok sa inyong hinahanap na characteristics. And quota sampling. This type of sampling depends of some preset standard. It selects the representative sample from the population. Proportion of characteristics, trait, in sample should be same as population. Elements are selected until exact proportion of certain types of data is obtained or sufficient data in different categories is selected. Okay? Again, pag sinabi naman natin na quota sampling, ito yung type ng non-probability sampling. Again, quota sampling is similar when it comes to stratified sampling. Kasi when it comes to stratified, again, you are dividing your sample size into subgroups or your population into subgroups. Tapos dun kayo magse-select randomly. On the other hand, pag sinabi natin quota sampling, you are dividing them, yes, into groups or strata din. Pero you have a specific standard following that. Okay? Again, pag stratified, you are still grouping them, yet you are using, selecting them randomly. But on the other hand, pag sinabi natin quota sampling, you will be dividing them into groups, yes. But for example, on a specific research, you need those students whose grades are from 85 to 90. Example lamang po. You can use stratified there. Bakit? Kasi as long as pasok yung grade nila doon, you can use them. On the other hand, pag sinabi natin quota sampling, for example, you are using height. Ay, sorry. Mali pala. Parehong quota pala yun kasi you have a specific characteristics. Pag stratified, halimbawa, you don't care regardless of what their characteristics are as long as pasok sila sa research nyo. As long as kaya nila sagutin yung research nyo, they can follow through with that sampling method. Again, kasi nga, halimbawa, sa stratified, you are dividing your sample size into different numbers. Let us say na you will be getting 30 students from each class. Again, so ibig sabihin, dun sa mismong groups na yon, sa 30 na yon, random na yon. Wala kang characteristics na kukunin dun, basta mo sila ipamimigay. Again, it's still random sampling. Again, this is non-probability sampling. Pag sinabi natin quota sampling, you are grouping them, yes. For example, the sections are still the same, pero may hinahanap kang characteristics. Example, you are looking for students whose grades are 85 to 90 on their card or on a specific subject. Again, yun yung quota sampling. Pag stratified, you are grouping them, but you are disseminating your questions or kung sino yung magiging respondents nyo randomly, but in quota, you are grouping them, but you have a selected or a specific characteristics that is supposed to be met by your group. May specific kang standard na susundin para yun yung gagamitin ng mga or yun yung way mo para ma-select kung sino ang inyong mga respondents. Okay, we will be stopping here and I will be uploading this the next time that we meet personally, whether it's online or face-to-face. We will be reiterating some of these things for clarification purposes. So that will be that, and yeah. Hope you learned something.